Hi BookTube, my name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with an original tag video. This I am so excited about. So me and the lovely Becky over at the Bookish Bryants, I will leave link to them in the description box below, came up with this tag, and this is the Clue tag. So it is based off the board game Clue. And it's one of my favorites. It's one of those board games that I always really loved. So there are a lot of different kind of prompts or things in the game of Clue. There are different people that you can be, different rooms that the murders take place, and of course different weapons. So I'm sure you're all familiar with how the game of Clue is played, is that you're trying to find out who is the murderer and in what room and with what weapon. So like, Mrs. White with the wrench in the conservatory. We're all familiar with it, I think. So Becky and I took a couple of different characters, rooms, and weapons and created prompts off of them for this tag. So super excited. I'm going to be using my tablet to show you guys the pictures of some of the books because, I'll be honest, I'm delayed getting this posted. Delayed getting this filmed and posted, and I want to get it posted ASAP. And yes, don't judge me, I am wearing a Christmas t-shirt because it's laundry day. But you know what? You can wear Christmas t-shirts all year round. Why should you just, negate them just for the holiday season? But anyway, that's not why we're here, to talk about my fashion choices. So I have all the prompts up here on my laptop in front of me, so let's jump in and get started. So the first one, we're going to go through 4 of the characters, and the first one we have is Mr. Green. And we did some background research on everything here, and he actually is a character who is from originally the United Kingdom. So this one was to find a book, or talk about a book that takes place in the UK. So there's a lot to pick from, but I decided to go with a thriller. So you're going to find in here there's a lot of thrillers, a lot of romantic suspense, a couple cozy mysteries, but that's kind of my jam with what I read, so, it's true to me. And I picked Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell. All of her books take place in the UK, so you could pick any Lisa Jewell book, really. But this is one that I actually have a physical copy of. This one is about a girl who goes missing, essentially, and excuse me, I literally do not want to say anything else about this because it's a thriller. And I think with thrillers, you really, really need to go into them blind. But all of Lisa Jewell's books are absolutely fantastic if you have not read them. What was the other one that I really liked? Then You Were Gone, I think it was, which is I think her most well-known one. That one was really good. But this is, I think, her newest release. It came out last fall. And I really, really enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure I gave this one a 4.5 to 5 star. But yeah, highly enjoyable. If you're looking for a great thriller set in the UK, definitely check out Lisa Jewell. Next up, we have Colonel Mustard, which is a book featuring a character in the military. Pretty self-explanatory. Colonel Mustard, he's a colonel in the military. So the book I'm going with is actually the first book in a series. And this is The Unsung Hero by Suzanne Brockelman. And this is book 1 in the Troubleshooter series. So this is a romantic suspense series featuring a group of, sorry for the glare from the window, featuring a group of military personnel. I believe he's a Navy SEAL. And I mean, clearly let's enjoy the cover just for a second, shall we? But yeah, no, this is a really, really great romantic suspense series. There are something like 15 or 20 books in this series, and really, really great romantic suspense. I love these a lot. All of them, like I said, are military characters. Our main characters are all members of the military. Really great, highly enjoyable, definitely worth your time to check out. The next book is, the next prompt is Mrs. Peacock. I always wanted to be her whenever I played the game. No, it was not Mrs. Peacock, Miss Scarlet. I always wanted to be Miss Scarlet. But this one is a book that you feel is patriotic. So the reason we picked patriotic for her is because, I believe it's because her husband does public service of some kind. Like he is a mayor, or he's running for some sort of public office. Excuse me. Like I said, guys, shooting this at the last minute. This one you're going to think is a little bit odd. I guarantee you're going to think this one's a little bit odd. But when I first thought of this, I was thinking about a book that had a very patriotic feel to it, but it was American patriotic. It was like red, white, and blue, took place over the 4th of July. And I was going to pick that one, then I thought, but that's not patriotic to me. I'm Canadian. So I was trying to find a book, a mystery book that takes place in Canada or is kind of Canadian-esque. And I remembered this one that I'm actually going to be reading for March Mystery Madness. Now, this is a book I've already read. All the books here that I'm talking about are books that I have read except for one. But this one I feel is patriotic because it takes place in Toronto. It's also historical. It takes place in Toronto in 1910, and this is The Bachelor Girl's Guide to Murder by Rachel Macmillan. It is the first book in the Herringford Watts series. It's, I mean, a tiny little thing. It's absolutely delightfully adorable. But again, to me, this is patriotic because you don't read a lot of mysteries set, at least I haven't run across a lot of mysteries set in Canada. So to have one set in my hometown is super exciting. So this is what I picked for patriotic because it's patriotic to me. So that's how I interpreted this prompt. The next one we have is Mrs. White, which is a book where the main character is part of the household staff because I believe she's the maid or housekeeper or something like that. So this one was actually the book that I picked is number 22 in a series. It's the Pennyford Hotel series. But this is the only one that I've read in the series so far, but I want to go back and read the rest. So these are essentially, it takes place in Edwardian England. So this would fit for the first prompt as well. But all the main characters in this are the below stairs staff. If you were thinking Downton Abbey, you know, the maids and the butlers and all them. They're the main characters in this story. You do see the owners of the household and stuff like that, but they are not the main characters. And the book is A Merry Murder by Karen Kingsbury. Like I said, book 22 in this series. This was delightful. I'm pretty sure every book in this series takes place at Christmas time. So if you're into Christmassy cozy mysteries, check this one out. Check this series out. But it's not necessarily a mansion kind of a household. It's more of it's a hotel, the Pennyford Hotel. But you still have the owners who are, you know, above stairs. And then you've got like the butlers and the maids and the cooks and all those other delightful people who absolutely make the household run or the hotel run. So really, really delightful. I highly recommend that you check out this series. Next one, now we're going to get into the rooms. So the first one for this was the library. I mean, this one was pretty self-explanatory. A book kind of about books. And the one that I picked for that is one I've read fairly recently. I read it back in October. And this was Death Overdue by Alison Brooke. This is the first book in the Haunted Library Mystery Series. So it is a cozy mystery series featuring a librarian, and the library itself is haunted by a former librarian, this very sweet old lady. So it's not a scary kind of haunting, but really fun. Again, a library cozy mystery. I think there's 3 or 4 in this series now, and I'm looking forward to getting to more in this series. But again, I of course wanted to show you guys the first one. I really, really love this book about books. You know, there's lots of talk about books. She does a lot of her research in the library. Tons of fun. Check it out. The next one is The Kitchen, which is a culinary one. Now, I was going to, for me, cop out a little bit and pick the Hannah Swenson series by Joanne Fluke. But then I remembered, I know a lot of people know that series and talk about it a lot. I kind of wanted to show you guys some books that you might not think about too often. And the book I actually chose is book number 1 in a magical bakery mystery series, and that is Brownies and Broomsticks by Bailey Cates. I think there are 8 books in this series, and I've read up to book 6. I love this cozy mystery series so much. There's very much a magical element in it as well, as our main character is a witch, and she has a little dog for her familiar, and his name is... Oh, what's the dog's name? Oh, I can't remember now, but it's a little schnauzer is the dog. And there is a cat in the series as well, named Honeybee, I think, or something like that. I can't remember the cat's name either. But the dog is just a delight in this book, and he doesn't talk to her. I mean, that would be a little too, out there. But they definitely have a communication, and it's really cute, and I really like it. It takes place in Savannah, Georgia. So, yeah, highly, highly enjoyable. Check this one out. Now we're going to get into, I think, the only book on this list that I have not actually read. But I wanted to feature this one because it is brand new released this week. It just came out on Tuesday. And this is for Conservatory, which is a book or a cover featuring plants, flowers, or trees. So this one has a rusted out car surrounded by foliage. And this is Quiet in Her Bones by Nalini Singh. This is her newest thriller. A couple of years ago, she wrote A Madness of Sunshine, which I really enjoyed. Most people know Nalini Singh for her Psy Changeling series, or she also did a contemporary romance series featuring rugby players. But this is like her second now in a thriller, and her first book, like A Madness of Sunshine, was really good. These take place in New Zealand as well, if you're looking for books that take place outside of like North America and the UK. And essentially, again, it's a thriller. I don't know too much about it, except for right here at the very beginning, it says, and I apologize for swearing, but this is in the description. My mother vanished 10 years ago. So did $250,000 in cash. Thief, bitch, criminal. Now she's back, her bones clothed in scarlet silk. And that's really all I've read about it so far. And I am intrigued. And this was a Valentine's Day gift from my husband. I know, isn't he sweet? He gave me a gift card for Amazon. So I don't usually buy hardcovers, so I bought this. And even though I already have a gazillion books on my March TBR, I really, really want to add this one in too. So we shall see if I can get to it in March. But yeah, I am really, really looking forward to this one. Next up, this book was so good. And this is a book that I do not hear talked about a lot. So the next prompt is Hall, a book that takes place in a mansion. So the book that I picked for that doesn't necessarily take place in a mansion, but it's a big old home, a big old beach house. And it's called One Night Gone by Tara Lakowski, excuse me. So again, this is a thriller. It's kind of a dual timeline. It's about this woman who ends up staying at this house to take care of it while the owners are gone away for like 6 months. And this is a beach community, but it takes place like over the winter time. So it's a very abandoned area now. And she kind of falls into this mystery about this person who went missing many years ago. And you go back and forth in time. Oh my gosh, this was so, so good. And I did not hear this talked about very often at all. I gave this 5 stars when I read it. I think it came out a couple years ago. Highly recommend that you check this one out if you like thrillers. There were scenes in this book that had did the whole make your hair stand up in the back of your neck thing. So, so good. I highly recommend that you check this one out. Oh, it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Next up, we have Candlestick. So this one is going way back for me in terms of books that I have read. I read this book more than a decade ago, and I still think about it, and I want to give it a reread. I need to get on Thrift Books and find a physical copy of this again, because I love the cover of this book, and I had this in a mass market paperback, and I think it came in around 600 pages. This is a long book. So this is for Candlestick. So this is a book that takes place or was published prior to 1802. Reason we did that is because electric lights were developed in 1802. Candlestick lights. You see what we did there? Fun, right? So the book is The Reincarnationist by M.J. Rose. There's the cover, you guys. Isn't that gorgeous? So this is another dual timeline. It has a bit of a more mystical element depending on what your personal beliefs are, because it does deal with reincarnation. And this takes place in present-day New York City and Rome, along with Rome 1600 years ago. So it's about an artifact that has gone missing in present day, and this person who is reliving past lives to try and find the artifact. It was amazing. So don't know if you can completely call this one a mystery thriller. Definitely fantastical. I remember there being just a great there was a whodunit feel to this a bit, with this missing artifact and who took it and what happened to it. But yeah, I mean, this was just so good. This is the first in a series, and I didn't realize it was a series at the time I read it. I think there's 2 or 3 in the series, but it's a chunky book, but it was so, so good. M.J. Rose, another author I do not hear talked a lot about, but this one I thoroughly enjoyed. And again, I need to get my hands on a copy, and I think I'm going to try and do that and maybe try and reread it this year, because I think that it would be really enjoyable for me to reread it. But I remember giving it like 5 stars at the time that I read it. Next up, now we're going to get into the weapons. So the first one of the 4, oh no, that was the first of the weapons. A candlestick is a weapon, you silly girl. Second one is a gun. And this one, pretty self-explanatory, and it was a mystery featuring a police officer. So most cozy mysteries do feature a police officer. Usually our main character, again, let's swing back to the Hannah Swenson series by Joanne Fluke. You know, Hannah dates the local chief of police, Mike, but I went with a more police procedural type book, and I loved this book when I read it the first time. And it's called Love You More by Lisa Gardner. This is the first book in the Tessa Leone series. She is a police officer, and this deals with the abduction of a child. She has her own little girl, so she's kind of really understanding what's happening. There's a murder victim, and then a child goes missing, and she's on the hunt for the killer. This was really good. Really, really good. I liked it a lot. I think this is the first Lisa Gardner I've ever read. Again, first in a series. I need to delve into the rest of this series. I don't think it's very long, maybe 3 or 4 books. But yeah, if you like a good police procedural, definitely check out this series. Highly, highly recommend. Next is The Wrench. And this is a book you guys are probably, when I tell you the author, you're going to be like, hey, I didn't expect to hear that author's name on this list. But like I said, the next one is Wrench, and it is a book with a skilled trade worker. So I had to think about this one for a bit because it's like plumber, electrician, yada yada, and then I'm like, oh, mechanic. So the book that I picked for this is Engagement and Espionage by Penny Reid. This is the first book in the Solving for Pi, a Cletus and Jen cozy mystery. So I will be honest, for those mystery-loving people out there who are like all about the like traditional mystery, this really isn't much of a mystery. This is more of a romance. There is a mystery element, and it's billed as a cozy mystery in a way. Very hot and spicy. This comes after the 4th book in the Winston Brothers series by Penny Reid, so my opinion is you need to read at least up to book 3, if not 4, before you delve into this book and this series. The second book comes out in March. The second book comes out in March, and I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, this was a real delight. I mean, if you are a fan of the Winston Brothers series and, you know, you want to read more about Cletus and Jen, because I think that they are a fan favorite, at least they're my favorite characters, you need to check out this series. It's an absolute delight, and Cletus is a mechanic, so that's how it fits for skilled trade worker. And last but not least, this is a book I read 2 years ago for the very first Amish in April. And am I ever glad that I did. I'm now up to book 4 or 5 in the series, and I think I'm definitely going to add the next one because Elizabeth and I are doing Amish in April next month, or in April, I should say. But the last clue here, last clue, isn't that cute? Is Dagger, and Becky came up with this one. Like we came up with all of these together, but she's the one who had this idea, and I thought it was brilliant. And it was a book where a ritualistic murder takes place. So the book that I chose for this, I know you're like, okay, first you started talking about Amish in April, now you're talking about ritualistic murders. What book are you talking about? Sworn to Silence by Linda Castillo. This is the first book in the Kate Burkholder mystery series. So another police procedural. Kate Burkholder, our main character in this series, and I think it's up to like book number 19 now, she is former Amish. She was raised in the Amish church, but she left and decided not to get baptized into the church. She's now the local chief of police in this small town. I think it's in Ohio or Pennsylvania. Both of them have big Amish communities. And there's murders that take place. And the murders in these books are not cozy. This is not a cozy series. These are brutal. And, you know, whether or not the ones in this story are ritualistic, they definitely have that spin to them where they're very, I mean, not murdering for the sake of murdering, but definitely purposeful, very, that ritualistic feel to it. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but these books are not for the faint of heart. These, I mean, they're not scary and spooky and Stephen King-esque, but they're definitely gritty and dark and really good. Really good. I really do like this series a lot. The interaction between the English and the Amish communities is really interesting, and especially her because she kind of straddles that line, being former Amish. But yeah, so this series, I highly, highly recommend it. But again, this is the first book, so if you can get your hands on it, I definitely recommend that you do. So anyway, guys, that is all that I have for today. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below, have you read any of these books? What did you think about them? Or, I haven't tagged anybody, but I'm putting it out there for everybody. If you haven't done this tag and you want to do this tag, please go ahead and do. All the prompts will be listed below, so do check that out. And definitely go and check out Becky and Scott's video. Again, that will be linked below as well. And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.